Good evening, everyone. It's Maydad here from YNV Health and Wellness, and it's great to see you all here. Tonight, I've got a special guest, and the topic that we're going to be discussing tonight is changing your trajectory. Now, my guest tonight is a special friend, a person that works with me and that I've known for a few years now. His name is Robert White. Rob, welcome to tonight's Zoom. How are you doing, and what have you been up to?
Good, mate. Yeah, thank you for having me. Honoured that you wanted me to take part in your Zoom sessions.
Amazing, Rob. Look, we've known each other for so many years now, and I know you do
Yep,
some great work. You're involved with the walk and talk, which
thank you.
we'll learn about. And I know you've had an amazing
Yep,
journey, your upbringing. You're involved with fitness, in boxing, and you're working in a variety of gyms, including mine. You do stuff outdoors, and I'd love for
yep,
you to share with our audience a little bit about your background, starting with your journey, where you grew up, and anything else you'd like to share with us.
sure. I grew up in Clovelly. I was born in 1967. Um, got a really cool set of parents who sadly have passed away. I had a good life in Clovelly. Went to St Anthony's School and Marsden College.
Does that make you
Um,
a Clovelly Crockers fan? Is Crocs?
well, the Crocs. Well, I used to play for the Clovelly Crocodiles. They weren't known as the Crocodiles back then. And I played for their rugby league, and I played for the Clovelly Eagles rugby union. My dad was a mad rugby union and rugby league fan. Randwick Rugby and the Roosters were part of my blood, thanks to Dad. So thanks, Dad, for that. And had a really sporty sort of upbringing, cricket and the beach in summer and football in winter. Got a younger brother, Tim. Um, and yeah, I was really close to my parents, but I'm very, very, I've got a very special family situation. People that know me know this, but I was adopted at birth, only 2 months old,
Oh,
and led a good, normal life. When you're only 2 months, when you're adopted, like everything's normal, you know. And my blood mother tracked me down when I was 27,
wow.
and she had a son and a daughter to another guy. So I got a half brother and sister um, on her side. She put me in contact with my birth father, who she was estranged from, and he had another 4 kids with another lady. So I've got brothers and sisters and cousins all running around Queensland where they're from, and went up and met all of them and get on tremendously well, probably too well. We partied a bit. So when it comes to family, mate, Dad, I'm very lucky. I'm very, very blessed. Mum and Dad who raised me are my true mum and dad in my heart. They did everything for me, and starting to get a little bit emotional here, but yeah, I had a good upbringing. Certainly weren't what's the word I'm trying to. Mum and Dad didn't have a whole lot of money, but they gave us a whole lot of love, which is way more important. So um, when you're growing up around Clovelly in the 70s and 80s, it was just a sort of a knockabout party culture where I probably overdid it a little bit, but life was good and still is. So
Can you tell us
that's
a
a bit
little bit
about my
about that?
childhood and from my.
Can you tell us a little bit about being a knockabout bloke and partying too much and
Well,
made you and where you got you?
I don't mind sharing this, mate, Ed, and I think this is part of the reason you got me on, and I'm happy to share my story. I'm 6'3", and I was able to get into the Coogee Bay Hotel when I was 15. Um, you know, drinking and playing pool with the Kiwi drug dealers there and stuff. And yeah, mate, life was good back then, but me and my mates, we just wanted to party, you know, and I smoked a hell of a lot of pot. I would have given Bob Marley a good run for his money, I think. And yeah, cigarettes as well. Nothing too hard, like the really hard stuff, all the chemical stuff. I sampled here and there along my journey, but not with any habit, thankfully. But I was smoking 30 cigarettes a day. The thing is, I got no one to blame but myself. My parents tried to steer me away from that. My mates were doing it. I had mates smoking ciggies, and I wanted to try it. And they're like, "Are you sure, Rob?" Same with pot. No one forced it down my throat. No one led me up the garden path. It was just all poor choices from myself. And I probably did that for too long into my adulthood, actually. But I was still able to work and be self-sufficient. There's a lot of hard stuff out there, particularly nowadays, and things like a few beers and cigarettes and weed pulls you back in life, but you can still work and support yourself and stuff. But I probably didn't apply myself as well as I should have because of poor lifestyle choices. But again, mate, you hear of people saying, "Oh, he fell into the wrong crowd," or "he was led astray." None of my mates were angels, and I wasn't an angel, but I got no one to blame but myself for my poor choices and stuff. And I just kind of overdid it with, like if ever I was drunk, I'd just fall asleep under pool tables or on toilets and that. I was harmless. I never started fights or was sleazy to women or anything like that, but just wasn't doing myself any favours with any of that. But, the growing up in the eastern suburbs or the northern beaches and down Cronulla and stuff, if you're near the beach, all of that stuff is around you. And yeah, I kind of partook a little bit too much, I guess you could say. But again, no one to blame but myself.
Can
It
you
was
tell me?
good though. I mean, life was good. I had some good times, but it doesn't do your health mentally or physically any good in the long run. And it had to stop, and luckily it did.
Can you tell us what you really think when you look back on your younger years in that? What was the core thing that led you to indulge in drugs and alcohol? Because I know you've shared with me a little bit about some tragedies that have happened in the past. And if you're comfortable talking about it and how that affected you
Yeah.
throughout your journey.
Well, I'll get onto the tragedy in a second. That had nothing to do with my lifestyle. As I said, life was good, but my mates and myself was kind of like, around Coogee Beach and stuff. All right, well, life's good. Let's see how high we can take it. Let's party on. Let's really sink our teeth into it a little bit too
Let's have
much.
fun, like all young men
Yeah,
do.
let's have fun. See how high we can go, so to speak. But a lot of people that partake in drugs and alcohol, mate, do it to run away from trauma or to numb the trauma and block it all out. Not me, mate. Life was good, I had no trauma to run away from.
That was
And as I say
basically
to
the
people, I get a
company
lot
that
of
you kept.
confidence from being able to change my life. But when it comes to nitty gritty and you've got to stop all the madness, if you haven't been running away from trauma, it's a lot easier because I know people on both sides of the harbour, and as you know, I'm over in the Manly area now. That's that they're drinking and taking drugs for a large period of their life because they're masking trauma to block it all out, and they've got to fix the trauma before they can fix their habit. And luckily for me, I didn't have that problem, so I just had to get strong and wake up to myself. And yeah, I did. That tragedy we're talking about with this extended family I had, I still have, always have, obviously, is I lost a half brother to suicide. Only 3 months after I met him, coincidentally. He had a few problems. He's only 23. Steve's his name. I talk about Steve in the present tense because he's still around. And, I hate seeing people just not enjoying life. And that led me to joining a good mental health group over here called Walk and Talk for Life that I've been part of for 8 years. And it's owned and founded by, well, not owned, but a guy called Shannon Nevin, ex-footy player for Manly.
Yes.
Got the groups going about 10 years ago, and it was I found out about it, and I've also lost an ex-fiance to suicide as well. Well and truly after we broke up, but we were still mates and stuff, and it was tragic to she went on to the next phase 8 years ago. And I lost Steve, my brother, nearly 30 years ago. And when someone wants to die by their own hand, it's probably the worst way to go. So this group, we're not miracle workers. We get together and go for walks and have a barbie, and anyone wants support, a shoulder to cry on, or to vent. As I say to people, we're not miracle workers or social workers, but we're just people that give a shit, pardon the French, and we'll be there to be your friend and help you through your problems if you feel like talking. So I'm happy and proud to be part of that group for that purpose. Yeah.
There should be more people like you guys doing that, right?
Thanks, mate. But it's mainly credit goes to Shannon, who started it, and we just all jumped on his back and stuff. And he's established a lot of walk and talks throughout New South Wales, places like Bathurst and Tamworth, where mental health and depression is really bad out in the rural areas, and they get together every month or every week and nut out their problems and become friends for life. So it's such a simple but powerful concept.
Oh, it's so positive. Tell me, Rob, I know you talk about how much you loved sport and you played football, you played cricket, and now you're doing a few other things. Can you tell us about what got you into the work that you do?
Well, to backtrack a little bit from that, mate, the crazy sport of boxing actually got me clean from ciggies and weed. And that led me to the work that I do, because as people that know me know, I don't even know my official job title. I think I'm a boxing personal trainer. But anyway, excuse me. A bit over 20 years ago, I was sharing a house in Mascot with a few knockabout blokes, and one of them dragged me up to a gym to get me started with boxing, to get me really fit. And I wasn't a fighter. Actually, I'm not a fighter. I'm not a fighter as such per se. And I went up there kicking and screaming, and I didn't really want to do it. And but I did, and I had a fair aptitude for it, but I could feel that it was getting me fit. And the guy that ran the gym was an ex-Roosters player called Jason Tassel, actually, and I got to know Jason well. And he was saying to me, and he knew that I was smoking a pack a day and smoking weed every night. I admitted that to him. And he said, mate, well, to make the most out of boxing training or any sort of training, you really should just stop all the madness you're doing outside of here, clean yourself up, and you can make a really good go of it. He closed his gym in 2005, and I got the boxing bug by then. And 2006, I joined Black Belt Pro in Randwick, and not long after, I saw the boys sparring and stuff, and I was still smoking, but not as much. My weed habit was lessened. My smoking was occasional, so I didn't stop straight away. And I got in the ring and got smashed around a little bit at first, as you know, that happens. But in 2008, the main guy up at Black Belt Pro, Matt Gardner, moved to Newtown, and I was learning a lot from him, and I followed Matt over. I was honest to Matt about my bad habits as well, which were slowly lessening. And he saw a lot of faith in me in terms of my ability and my character. He asked me to help him run classes and to be a boxing instructor. And I didn't think I had it in me, and it was good that someone like him had the faith in me. So I gave it a go. And as the years rolled on, after work, I'd help him teach a few classes and stuff. And I had a fight in 2012. That was a big moment. I wanted to test myself to see if I had the mental and the physical capacity to train for a fight. And I had my nose broken twice in training, had my nose broken in the fight, had a really good result, won the fight pretty well. And leading up to that fight, though, I had to quit everything, ciggies, weed, the lot. And I did. And it stayed that way. So it was good that Matt gave me the the opportunity to A, be an instructor, and B, to give me an opportunity to fight if I wanted to. But for me to be the best boxer I could be, I had to stop smoking and ciggies and weed. And I was just a moderate drinker, but I virtually had to have a clean body. And I did. And geez, as you know, mate, fight training's brutal, man. And I was, even though I won my fight and I knocked the poor fella out, I thought, I don't know whether I want to go through this again. But and I trained for another fight in 2017. But my opponent pulled out a week before the fight. That was the Peter Morrison from Black Belt Pro, who you know. He was put on a night called Second to None up at the Paddo RSL in 2017, and I was due to fight there. But I was going home with headaches. I was sparring Peter Schuttram, Shuey, who, as you know, is an animal. He was knocking me around. But all through that journey, I wasn't smoking. I wasn't drinking. So it was set in me to have a clean body and have a clean mind. And ever since then, well, when COVID came about, I smoked a little bit of weed, and Dad died in 2018. I dropped my head a little bit there. Cigarettes are the worst, actually. I haven't smoked a cigarette in 12 years. But the last 4 to 5 years, my lungs have been completely clean. And when just after COVID and stuff, I had the chance for a career change. And I thought, I wonder if I can become a boxing personal trainer just straight up and do it as a full-time job. And it started slowly, and I've slowly built up good clientele on both sides of the harbour. A lot of people know, mate, that I was caring for my mum until she passed away in 2021. And I moved over to the Manly area and been here since. And I've slowly built up people on both sides of the harbour. I'm working part-time in 3 great gyms, namely your own great gym. I'm very honoured and proud to help you there at Bondi Boxing. And we had a
Happy to
good
have you.
session there this morning with Luke and Matt, didn't we? So very, very happy and proud to be able to train people, to have the knowledge to train people. And it's a humbling feeling when I have people train under me. And I've been very lucky, mate, at the teachers I've had, like Matt, Dennis the Angry Ant, who I met up at Black Belt Pro, who's done great work with you for the last few years. We all know and love Dennis so well. Your good self, the man with the golden feet, Maydad Ronan. You've taught me a lot, Maydad. Thank you. So I was also doing a bit of work at BX1 Gym in the last 18 months at Neutral Bay, and Billy Tammy, and you know Billy, you know, he's a very, very knowledgeable man as well. So I've been so fortunate just picking the brains out of you, and you're all great ex-fighters with good fighting careers, and now you're great teachers. I've been lucky enough to be associated with all of you. So in my own right, I'm become bloody good at what I do, if I may say so, but only because of the good teachers and guidance that I've had. For a good example, yourself, mate. So I'm very, very grateful for that. So waking up to myself and getting off the cigarettes and the weed, and the boxing, and I'm proud of both. They were intertwined. You can't do both. Good mate of mine, George Maloof, who you know of, was asking me only last week. We're talking about smoking and boxing training. He said, Rob, so I gather that if you're a regular smoker, you won't be able to do boxing training. And exactly, you just can't, or you can't get the proper effect out of it. So
a cake and expect to perform, eat rubbish or smoke and anything like that.
Exactly. And this sort of training, and again, mate, I'm telling you something that you know way more than me. It's any sort of fight training. It's the best training you can do, because to get the most out of it, if you're going to do it regularly, just twice a week, 3 times a week or more, and I'm still training 6 times a week, and I'm 57 now. You've got to live clean. You can have a pizza every Thursday night or something, and but on the other 6 nights, if you're looking after yourself, you'll be able to do it. But if you're not, you can't. Simple as that. So I'm happy to.
would you say, Rob, that part of your ability to change your trajectory was the influence you had of people like Matt and others believing in you, offering you
Yes.
an avenue to go down, becoming a
Yeah.
trainer, getting involved in the fitness industry, and obviously
Yeah.
doing the great things that you're doing now?
Yeah, for sure. Like when Matt first asked me, I said, "Wow, do you really think I can, Matt?" And he's kind of looked at me like, "Well, duh, mate. I wouldn't have asked you otherwise." So when the people like him and yourself and Dennis, even good old Father Dave, I've got a good association with Father Dave, um, when all of you people endorse my ability as a boxer and a teacher, and also to have the personality to convey it all, you think, okay, well, maybe I am good enough to do this. And that was one negative byproduct of all the pot that I smoked, mate. It sort of probably made me less confident in myself, just in life. It pulled me back. That's the thing about with pot. Don't know, they say it's a soft drug, and maybe compared to the hard stuff it is, but when you smoke a lot of it like I did, it can get to you, and it can sap your confidence, and it can sap your zest for life. So when you slowly come out of that, when you used to, like, I never had really low self-esteem, but it was just moderate at best, and being able to pull off what I have with my what I've been able to achieve in the sport. And I'm a teacher of sorts now, and now living a clean life. Now I've got a lot of pride in myself and confidence in like dealing with people. Um, yeah, I can't. I think it's the best training you can do. Any sort of training. You don't, as I say to people, you don't have to fight at all. My experience in fight gyms, probably 8 out of 10 people in fight gyms aren't there to fight. They're there just to train and train hard and to learn a skill and to clear their mind and maybe lose weight or whatever it might be.
And it's such
And
a great
that's
way to do it, isn't it?
well, I think when you've got 80% of people that are there with no inclination to fight, they're just there for the fitness. That's just testimony to what boxing training or Muay Thai training, I've done a bit of Muay Thai, any sort of fight training does, because the training itself really, it it gets you fit, it gets you strong, it clears your mind, it gives you confidence. I could go on.
Rob,
Um,
I never knew you when you were younger, but by the sounds of things, you've really made a whole circle, complete turnaround to your life, and it's so great to hear um, positive changes that you've made, because obviously with all the positive changes that everybody else makes, and one of the things that people have to realize, when you make positive changes in your life, it has a
mm,
ripple effect and it affects everybody, your family,
yeah,
your friends, your clients, and anybody that you associated with, and it just affects it like a ripple effect, and it's so beautiful to see. Rob, can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do and why you love doing what you do in training people?
the results I get, um, the look of, say, when it was a good example today when I trained Matt and Luke, and I get this look all the time at the end of a session when you touch gloves or just give them a pat on the back. They look at you with a look of, it's a mixture of exhaustion and satisfaction. And when they thank you and they're genuine, these people are saying this to you every day, mate, you feel proud that you're able to facilitate that.
It's
And
almost like thank you. I learned something today. Great. I'm walked
yeah,
away.
yeah.
Appreciate that. It's almost like
And also
that
too,
word needed to be spoken.
to varying degrees, mate, I think a lot of people that when they do this sort of training, they might have a bit of a lack of confidence, or their life might be fine, but it's been enhanced even more. Um, and I'm able to. I'm fortunate enough now not to have a 9 to 5 job anymore. Um, Quite often during the 7 day span, I've got work on pretty much every day. But some days I might just have 1 or 2 jobs. Other days are more busy. But I've got a lot of time in between. And if I have a really early start, like when I come over and help you, I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, but in between jobs, I'll go to Centennial Park and have a snooze for half an hour under a tree and get me shoes
Yeah.
off and go for a barefoot grounding walk and stuff and recharge, and away I go again. So,
How good
so
is
yeah,
that?
yeah, it
Grounding.
is.
So good feeling. Like I admire your energy levels, Rob, at your age, 57, correct?
Thanks, thanks, mate. Well, a big reason I can do that though is the fact that I'm living clean and I'm training so much and
Yeah, Rob.
6 days a week, just for 45 minutes or an hour. But mate, if you don't mind, let me just get back to how I've changed my life. And thank you. But with my bad habits, I don't want people to worry, or don't want people to have the wrong idea. I was like a really, really bad drug addict where I was shooting shit up in my arm, like heroin and ice and stuff like that. I was, and my mates were as well. I wasn't the only one, but I was a pothead. I was a stoner. A lot of people in life, when they smoke this drug, they might occasionally have a few puffs on a joint every couple of weeks at a barbecue or something to have control over it. I didn't. I was smoking it not every morning before work, but as soon as I'd get home, some people like to go to the pub and or pull a beer out of the fridge. I'd go home and just get stoned, and never hurt anyone or anything, but apart from myself. But I was really going nowhere with my life.
It really is
Um,
a vicious cycle, isn't it, Rob? And it
yes,
doesn't
I
have,
would.
it's self-inflicted. Like you said, it's not as if like you're out there beating somebody up, breaking the law or anything like that. But
No.
somewhat you were inflicting so much harm onto your own your own growth
Oh,
and your
mate, I was just sitting on the couch, just being a couch potato. Like again, no harm to um, anyone outside or inside, my flatmates, but just not really sinking my teeth into life like I should have. But again, my mates didn't lead me up the garden path there. Like my mate, that the first time I got stoned, mate of mine, Paul Morton, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us. Um, I said, Paul, I wouldn't mind, let's get stoned together. And he's gone, yeah, you sure? See, he didn't twist my arm. And again, that's what I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I just chose the wrong path there for a while. But yeah, as I've outlined just now, the steps I took to eradicate that. So
Tell me what the
yeah,
steps.
I need my coffee. The only dependency I've got nowadays, mate, is coffee. I need my coffee every day, like most of us.
Some
But
people, a lot of people do. I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones that doesn't really drink it that much at all.
right.
But you're one of billions of people in the world that love to drink several cups of
Yeah,
coffee a day. So there's
yeah,
no.
I probably have about three or four. But also, yeah, getting back to what I love about my work is it's it's a bit of a workout as well because as you know, mate, I mainly hold the focus pads and I'm catching punches and drilling the right technique into people, and I find that really, really enjoyable. And the bit I love is to watch them improve. I'm really good with beginners, as you know, and to watch a beginner come back third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, and they're slowly getting better. And I've learnt now how to don't pump them up too much. Don't pick on everything. Again, I'm telling you something. You're teaching me tricks still. Um, when you see people improve and you see them getting hooked, for want of a better terminology to use, and um, and to see them come back. And when people I train at gyms, when they say, what nights do you teach here, or what mornings do you teach here? I get that a fair bit, and that's really a real good compliment to get. Um, so I feel like people enjoy training under me. If anything, I probably should be training people harder, I think. Um, but I like just to keep them ticking over and to work on the right technique and stuff.
It
So
is.
I
It is a
just get a
business.
lot of
Not
enjoyment
everybody
out
wants
of
to,
it.
like, as you said, not everybody wants to compete, and sometimes you just have to
Yeah,
give them the benefit of the doubt of just keep them coming over and letting them have a good workout, and you do that
yeah,
well. Rob, can you
yeah.
tell us?
Thank you.
I know you spoke about growing up in Coogee in the eastern suburbs and now living in Manly and making this huge change in your life where you've been able to change your trajectory, live clean. But what do you think the main benefits you could share with other people going down a similar path where they could be drinking, smoking, indulging in substance abuse that they could do to empower themselves and better their quality of life?
Well, first of all, there's got to be an end date to if you're using drugs regularly, you can't do it forever. And you have to stop one day. And smelling the roses, like when most of your life and you're used to being on a drug or alcohol, not that I was a big drinker, um, after a while, you realize that, well, back during those times, you're thinking, if I was sober, I wouldn't enjoy life. It does a major turnaround, though. When you get clean and when you have a clear head, it's like you're reborn again and life's better. You just smell the roses, as it were. Life's interesting enough with a clear head. And I say to some people that I know that have addictions with drugs or alcohol, the hardest thing for me to stop, mate, was cigarettes, nicotine. It's an incredibly addictive drug, and I was feeling stressed. I was getting headaches. I wasn't sleeping. And one thing I said to myself that I thought, imagine if I was stuck with feeling like this for the rest of my life. And straight away you think, okay, well, you're just going through withdrawal symptoms. This is temporary. There'll be a time here soon where you won't be feeling like this, but the only way to get to that stage is to abstain and not smoke and not smoke pot. And this feeling of stress and withdrawals will slowly dissipate, and they do. And the days and the weeks, you're still feeling affected, but it's less and less and less, and it's an empowering feeling. I was lucky because I had my boxing training to get into and to help with the stress, getting rid of all the stress there. But people have just got to take that first step. Anyone that wants to call me or talk to me about how I was able to straighten my life out, I'm more than happy to help them. I'll walk over hot coals to help them because I'd love for people to feel the same benefits that I'm doing now. That's why when people try and quit ciggies or any other drugs, it takes them a few attempts because the withdrawals are pretty harsh and you're always weak and go back to it. But you should never give up trying to give up. And with the ciggies, it took me probably 10 or 12 attempts to stop that. And I eventually got there. Yeah, I'm glad I did, mate. It's probably 3/4 of the way through my life now. We're at 3/4 time, and the last quarter of my life, I'm going to be hopefully I'm going to be the best quarter of my life, even though it'll be the last quarter. Is because I'm clean and I'm healthy and I'm looking after myself and working in the fitness industry. So it's turned out well. It's turned out well in the end.
Wonderful to see, Rob. I'm going to touch on something that you said. For the past few months, I've been studying and delving into the subject of neural plasticity.
Yep.
And when you have somebody doing any pattern of living, whether it is waking up early and going for runs, eating well, meditating, doing something positive, or doing something like you did, indulging in substance abuse, drinking, or negative stuff that is harmful to the human body and one's health. Over time, you become customized to that pattern, and those patterns become hard to break. And the reason they become so hard to break because during our youth and our infantry, as we grow up and we are brought to this earth and we are born, we are so vulnerable to learning new things. And plasticity itself is developed in the body and in the brain, and it is so readily all the time. But it's not until we're about 25 years of age that neuroplasticity stops presenting itself as much as it did at an infant age or a younger period when you were growing up. And as a result, it requires a lot more effort. And studies have shown, and this is another time and another place to do another Zoom about neuroplasticity, but studies have shown that the amount of effort, the amount of attention, and the amount of focus that you need to develop neuroplasticity as an adult when you're above 25 years of age, to give up an addiction like drug addiction, smoking, drinking, even porn, or any other addiction that you may have, requires.
I sidestepped that one. I love chicks, but no, porn wasn't. But yeah, apparently porn can be addictive. But yeah, I dodged that one, mate. Yeah, yeah.
But
Enough said.
yeah, it really requires a lot of effort. What I call the AFA. Sorry, it's what I call the AFE. Attention, focus, and effort to detail. So when you want to attain neuroplasticity, and you got to understand what neuroplasticity is really all about. Neuroplasticity is to help you override, develop, rewire the brain, and develop new skills. And especially when your patterns of living has become customized in such a thing so powerful like drinking and addictive like smoking and that, it requires an enormous amount of attention and effort and focusedness. And the only way we can do that in our adult life, and scientists have proven this, that there's three chemicals in the human brain and in the body that need to be released for us to achieve this in our adult life. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share it and talk about these three.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Things that are released. The first one is epinephrine. Epinephrine. And the second one is the acetylcholine, which both release adrenaline in the body and stimulants in the brain that motivate and allow you to find focus, to find alertness, to find attention, and make the effort. But none of these are possible. None of these are possible unless the motivator is big enough. Luckily enough for you, you found boxing. You had the good environment and the right people around you to make the effort.
Definitely.
What I call AFE, attention, focus, and effort to detail. And it forced you to almost like find the focus as if you were looking down a straw, that some scientists refer to, and professors that refer to neuroplasticity when they've studied neuroplasticity. And another chemical in the brain that is released when this is all happening is nucleus bacillus. And nucleus bacillus is released, and when that is released, and you have those three goals and those three motives of effort, focus, and attention together, you have that common motivator. In your case, it was to become a great boxer, to learn boxing, and at the same time, give up a bad habit.
Yeah. Can I add, sorry to interrupt you, mate. I didn't know all that. That's very interesting. I'll add another chemical. That's good old endorphins, and that's another thing that helped me, because it was mainly, as I said, I'm not a fighter as such per se, and it was hard fight training because I had to flick the switch and turn into a prick, actually, and it was hard at first, but I got there. But any sort of hard training, and again, you know this, the endorphin rush you get is out of this world. And after a while, I was thinking, I prefer having the endorphin rush after training, whether it was pad work, whether it was sparring or whatever. And I thought this drug is better than being high, stoned. And it's not just coming off drug addiction, but if you have a stressful job or a relationship breakdown, and again, at the risk of repeating myself, I'm telling you stuff you already know, mate, more than me. And I can't emphasize this enough, but exercise is everything, and it clears your mind, it gets your body right. And luckily for me, I found an exercise regime, boxing training, that I enjoyed, that I was fairly good at, and I was taught well by all the men that I've mentioned before, and that was my motivator as well. So when you combine all of that, I think the want to exercise, the want to feel the endorphin rush, overrode the want to feel stoned, if you like. And I need that endorphin rush now. I'm forced to, as I said, I train 6 days a week, and I force myself to rest on the seventh day. And I just don't really feel right, but I know I need to rest, because when I walk out of your gym, when I walk out of Shannon Nevin, who I mentioned before, who runs Walk and Talk, he owns a gym in Seaforth, that fitness place. Great little gym for people in Northern Beaches watching this. When I leave his gym and hop in the car and go for a swim down at Clontarf or Fairlight or something like that, the feeling's just out of this world. So getting highs from the chemicals you just said, from the neuroplasticity and stuff, add on good old endorphins after hard exercise, you're on a winner every time.
And lucky for you, Rob, that you discovered such a good exercise and something that you love so much, and you had the right people around you to motivate
Yeah,
you, to help you in your journey in becoming good at what you
yeah,
do. But not only that, now you're making a living out of it, and you're
yeah,
empowering other people with your knowledge and giving them the energy and the positivity that you learn in having good endorphins. You just can't get any better, Rob. Congratulations to
yeah.
you. Rob,
Thanks, Brandon.
can you tell us a little bit about if anybody wants to get in contact with you and learn a little bit more about the great work that you do, Rob? How would they contact you? Is there any social media or mobile number? If someone wants to ring you up,
Well, I don't have Instagram. A lot of my mates say I should, just for my business, and I'll probably get Instagram up one day. I'm not a flashy, showy sort of person. I'm on Facebook. I'm hard to find because I've got a common name, Robert White. There's like a million of us, but I can be contacted there if you can find me. But there's three. I'm very, very proud of this, mate. There's three gyms that I've been working at regularly, and that's Bondi Boxing Gym in Bondi Road, the real authentic Bondi Boxing Gym. No disrespect to the one in Waterloo. So you can find me there. BX1 at Neutral Bay. I teach 3 classes there on a Thursday night. And that fitness place, Shannon's Gym in Seaforth, is not a boxing gym. It's just a normal gym, a good one. And he lets me ply my trade there. It's not far from where I live. So any of those 3 great gyms, anyone wants to, look, I'll read out my mobile number now, mate, and my email address,
sure,
just
sure.
verbally now.
Yep.
Okay, my mobile is 0414 that's probably the best way to contact me. So, and I don't train people for fights. I don't actually encourage people to do it. I know how to prepare them for one because I've been on that side. But I just like to cater for the 80% of people that want to do boxing training to get fit and to learn a proper technique. And again, that's what I've been lucky with my trainers, mate, you being one of them, that have taught me the precise art of, simple in a way, just keep your hands up and move your body, but there's a lot more to it than that. But I've been doing it now for over 20 years, and I'm not a beginner at it, but I haven't been doing it like Floyd Mayweather started when he was 5 or something. That hasn't been the case with me. I didn't get into it till my mid to late 30s, but I've stuck at it since then. It's been 20 odd years. So I've learned a lot along the way, and I like to think what I bring to the table is a good product. But again, it's because of the tutelage and the guidance I've got over the years, that have helped me get to the level that I am. So, yeah,
You know
please,
what?
anyone that wants to give it a crack, get in touch.
It's amazing, Rob. There you go, everybody. If you want to get in contact with Rob, catch up with him, have a training session, or learn a little bit more about the work that he does, give him a phone call or email him. But one of the great thing I've did learn in my own journey as a trainer, it's building the rapport, building the bond, building a connection with your clients, and it is
Yeah,
mostly because of that.
you need to do that. Yeah.
People really want to spend more time with you and keep coming
Mm.
back. obviously there's so many trainers and so many people out there. There's some you'll click with and some you won't. But those that you
Yep,
do click with, if you found anyone out there, stay with them, especially if they're doing some great things for you, because it's all positive.
absolutely.
Rob, it's amazing getting a chance to catch up with you and chat to you tonight and for you to share some of your journey. I'm sure there's a lot more to it, Rob. But in
Yep,
saying that, I'd just like to finish off and conclude with this to everybody. Next week, I'll be catching up with Mark Vagan, and the topic that we're going to talk about is men empowerment. He's an empowerment coach for men, and coming up on the 7th of June is Men's Mental Health Week. And to honor that and celebrate that, in the week of Men's Mental Health Week, we are running our own half-day footprints retreat that is going to commence at 5:45 a.m. at beautiful Bondi Beach just before sunrise with yoga on the beach. Coach Emmeline is going to take everybody through human movement, breath work, and yoga. That session is going to be preceded with us going back to the iconic Bondi boxing gym where we're all going to run and participate in a functional training and boxing class. When that finishes, we're going to all be fed delicious meals served from the chefs at Up South Cafe, delicious healthy meals, juices, and detoxing smoothies. When that's done, we're going to be going through some neural transformation therapy sessions that I'm going to be presenting and talking about your personal internal representation, your submodalities, and your internal dialogue. We're going to be talking about goal setting and talking about a really empowering vision session. When that concludes, we're all going to head up to the beautiful Wellness Center Nimbus in Bondi Road to take a plunge. Participants are going to take a plunge in an ice bath and conclude the day with some delicious acai bowls. Now, this is going to be an amazing morning, 4.5 hours of health and wellness, and plenty of key nuggets and information for anybody wanting to better or to improve their quality of life. If you wish to learn more, simply give me a call on 0402 622 662, or you can simply email me at ynvhealthandwellness@hotmail.com. Apart from that, we look forward to seeing you next week. From Rob White and I, have an amazing evening, and we'll see you next
All
time.
the